Hey everyone, welcome back to RidezoneBikes, the channel where we explore the machines that make the road come alive. Today, we're diving into something that's not just a motorcycle, but a legend reborn, the 2026 Kawasaki Vulcan 2000. For years, fans of big displacement cruisers have been waiting for Kawasaki to bring back the monster that once ruled highways with its sheer size and torque. Now it's here. And it promises to be bigger, bolder, and meaner than before. This is a bike that doesn't whisper, it roars, and it does so with the kind of confidence that only a massive V-twin can provide. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down what makes this machine so special, its features, its performance, its design, the ride feel, its price point, and why it might be the perfect choice for riders who crave presence and power in equal measure. The Vulcan 2000 was originally introduced to push the limits of cruiser engineering, and the 2026 version carries forward that spirit. At its heart lies a massive 2053cc V-twin engine, the kind of powerhouse that produces torque you don't just read on a spec sheet, you feel it in your chest, in your shoulders, and in the way the bike surges forward with almost effortless force. Kawasaki has tuned this motor to deliver a very healthy 115 horsepower, but the real story is torque. It comes on low, right off idle, and gives you that classic cruiser sensation of endless pull. You don't need to rev it high, you don't need to chase red lines. Just twist the throttle and you're propelled forward on a wave of grunt that feels like it could go on forever. For highway riders, that means overtaking is never a problem, and for city riders, it means you'll feel the shove every time you roll on the throttle. The 5-speed transmission may sound modest in a world of 6s and 7s, but paired with this engine it makes perfect sense. You don't need constant shifting because of how fat and usable the torque curve is. Belt drive keeps things smooth and quiet, while also reducing maintenance compared to a chain. On the road, that combination creates a sensation of raw muscle delivered in an almost relaxed, effortless way. It's like the bike is telling you, I've got more power than you'll ever need, and I'm not even breaking a sweat. Of course, a motor this big requires a chassis that can handle it, and Kawasaki has built a frame that balances strength with rider comfort. The Vulcan 2000 is no lightweight. It's heavy, long, and wide, and it makes no attempt to hide that. At low speeds you'll feel the mass, and parking lot maneuvers will demand a confident rider. But once you get rolling, the weight transforms into stability. On the highway, this bike feels planted, like it's glued to the asphalt, unbothered by crosswinds or rough pavement. Suspension is tuned for comfort, not sport, with thick front forks and a capable rear shock that can be adjusted depending on load. It soaks up road imperfections well enough to keep you from feeling beat up on long rides, while still maintaining the kind of feedback you expect from a cruiser. Braking is handled by dual front discs and a solid rear, with ABS now included as standard. Given the size of this machine, strong brakes are a necessity, and Kawasaki hasn't skimped. You'll still need to plan your stops a bit earlier than you would on a sport bike, but the braking performance is more than adequate for the weight and power of the Vulcan. Now, let's talk about design, because if there's one thing the Vulcan 2000 has always done well, it's making an entrance. The 2026 version is unmistakably a Vulcan, big, bold, with a fuel tank that looks like it could double as a small barrel, exhausts that sweep down and back in polished chrome, and a stance that makes other cruisers look small by comparison. Kawasaki has updated the styling to feel modern without losing the classic cruiser DNA. You'll see sharper lines, LED lighting in the headlamp and indicators, and a mix of chrome and matte black finishes that strike a nice balance between old-school shine and contemporary cool. The bike's ergonomics keep to the cruiser formula: a low seat height, forward controls, wide handlebars, everything designed to put the rider in a relaxed, commanding position that says you're in no hurry, but you own the lane. The instrument cluster has also received updates. While it keeps the classic analog speedometer to please traditionalists, there's now a digital display that provides gear position, fuel range, trip data, and more. It's not cluttered, and it doesn't try to overdo it with screens, because this bike isn't about tech gimmicks. It's about the ride, the feel, the sound, and the presence. Still, the inclusion of modern touches like ABS, fuel injection, and possibly traction control shows Kawasaki knows today's riders want some reassurance without losing the rawness. Performance on the road is exactly what you'd hope for. Twist the throttle and you get an immediate, muscular response. The bike is happiest cruising between 60 and 80 miles per hour, where the engine loafs along effortlessly, vibrations are well controlled, and you feel like you could ride across states without fatigue. Push it harder and the Vulcan responds with surprising eagerness for something this large. It's not nimble in the traditional sense, but it can handle sweeping curves with poise, giving you confidence to lean it in and enjoy the ride. Just don't expect razor-sharp handling. That's not the point here. This is about comfort, stability, and the raw thrill of torque. Fuel economy isn't going to win awards, and that's to be expected. With an engine this size, you're looking at somewhere in the mid-30s miles per gallon, depending on how you ride. But let's be real, if you're buying a Vulcan 2000, efficiency isn't your top concern. What you're paying for is that unique combination of size, sound, and power. And speaking of pain, let's talk about price. While Kawasaki hasn't officially announced the full breakdown for every region, early reports put the Vulcan 2000 somewhere in the ballpark of $18,000 to $22,000. That positions it firmly in competition with heavyweight cruisers from Harley-Davidson and Indian. The value here is that Kawasaki is offering massive displacement and serious performance at a price that often undercuts some American rivals, making this a very attractive option for riders who want the biggest engine without necessarily paying the biggest brand premium. Who is this bike for? It's not for beginners. The weight alone makes it a challenge in parking lots or tight city streets, and the torque requires respect. But for experienced riders who want to step into the realm of mega cruisers, this is one of the most compelling choices on the market. If you're the kind of rider who loves long highway hauls, weekend trips, or just the feeling of sitting behind an engine that sounds and feels like a thunderstorm, the Vulcan 2000 is built for you. It's also a fantastic platform for customization. Kawasaki will likely offer accessories like saddlebags, windshields, and passenger backrests, but the aftermarket potential is enormous. From custom exhausts to upgraded seats to wild paint jobs, this bike begs to be personalized. So where does it stand? The 2026 Kawasaki Vulcan 2000 is not trying to be all things to all riders. It doesn't pretend to be light or efficient. It doesn't chase sport bike numbers or adventure bike versatility. Instead, it stays true to what it has always been, a cruiser of epic proportions. A motorcycle that's as much about attitude as it is about performance. It delivers torque in spades, looks that can't be ignored, and a presence on the road that makes you feel like you are riding something truly special. It's not perfect. Fuel economy and maneuverability will always be compromises, but it doesn't need to be, because when you're on a Vulcan 2000, perfection is measured in grins per mile, not statistics. And that's the beauty of it. The 2026 Vulcan 2000 is a reminder that motorcycles aren't just about getting from point A to point B. They're about the experience, the character, and the thrill. This bike has all of that in abundance. Kawasaki has brought back a legend, and they've done it justice. If you've been waiting for the return of the beast, your wait is over. Thanks for watching RidezoneBikes. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what would you add or change on your dream Vulcan 2000, custom exhaust, touring setup, or maybe a wild paint job. We'll be bringing you more rides, reviews, and road tests soon, so stay tuned. Until next time, ride safe and keep chasing that open road.